Welcome to the Vol Bros, presented by the Oldawalk Club. My name is Evan. This is my brother Ruston, and we are two Vol Bros who are actually bros in real life. And very appreciative of the Believe Entertainment Network. Proud to be representatives of the University of Tennessee on the Believe Entertainment Network. It's a bittersweet evening, obviously. Side note, if you like our hats, we did not plan this. We just showed up both wearing them. Great minds, great minds. If you like these, you can get one of your own at thevolbros.com/shop. Thevolbros.com/shop. Awesome hats, puff embroidery. Look at that. That's beautiful. That beautiful puff embroidery. Richardson 112 hat. Got a brand new hat on the site too. So more to come as well. So our program this evening, our plan is to talk about what happened in Fayetteville, kind of recap the season as a whole, and then I'm certain the new house settlement will come up. So that's our plan. Rustin, what did you think about the Arkansas Super Regional?
People probably aren't going to like what I'm about to say. I thought we got beat by the better team. I was looking back at it. If I told you before the season started that Tennessee would lose Christian Moore, Dylan Dreiling, Billy Amick, Kavaris Tears, Blake Burke, and then from the pitching staff, A.J. Causey, Aaron Combs, Drew Beam, Kirby Cannell, and Xander Sechrist. Most schools, if you lose that kind of talent, and every one of those guys except for Kirby Cannell are currently getting opportunities in minor league baseball, and a couple of them are going to be in the pros here pretty soon. If I told you that you were about to lose that much talent, most rational people would say, man, if we can just compete in the conference next year, it's going to be a rebuild.
6 of the 9 hitters in the batting lineup and all 3 weekend starters.
Yeah. Tony Vitello found a way to go 46-19 and became the only school ever to make it to 5 super regionals in 5 straight years. I'd retweeted a quote after the game where I'll find it here real quick and read it because I want to quote him directly. He was asked about what now, and he said, "You always want to recruit better, so that's what's going to go on this summer." Okay. He just signed last year either the number, depending on rankings, either the number 1 or number 2 recruiting class in the country. This year, he has signed the number 1 recruiting class in the country. He has probably the makings of the number 1 or number 2 transfer portal class in the country. And he's talking about going out this summer and recruiting better. Like, that should terrify every college baseball coach in America because they're already losing to him in a huge way on the recruiting trail. And those are the words of a man who is not satisfied with losing at Arkansas and is going to make sure it never happens again. Let me just say this, and this offseason is going to be fascinating. I sat down and jotted down this list because I was thinking about, okay, we went out and got this incredible transfer portal class. We had the number 1 high school recruiting class in the country coming in. We've got the number 1 class again next year coming in. Who's going to be back? And how many of these guys is Tony going to look at them and go, it's just not good enough? I'm not talking 3-star kids that's like, hey, listen, we got to upgrade your position. I'm talking about high school All-Americans,
right?
Who he's going to have to make a decision. Do I roll with this kid or do I tell him to hit the portal and go find somebody older and better right now. Right now, if everything holds true to what I think will hold true, listen to who's returning for next year. Ariel Antigua, Manny Marin, Cannon Peebles, Jay Abernathy, Chris Newstrom, Reese Chapman, who I think will come back, Blake Grimmer, Hunter High, Dalton Bargo, who I believe will come back, Thomas Crabtree, Austin Breedlove, Andrew Binky, Tegan Coons, Brandon Arvidsson, Stone Lawless, Levi Clark, Ryan Combs, Austin Hunley, Braden Krenzel, Michael Sharman, Dylan Loy, and Braden Sharp. Okay. And then there's one big question mark. Nate Snead is gone. He basically made a goodbye post tonight, so he's not going to use his extra year and come back. But what if Marcus Phillips does? When you think about the list of players I just read off, and possibly Marcus Phillips, with the number one recruiting class in America coming in, and what's stacking up to be the number one transfer portal class in America coming in, they're going to get 6 supers in 6 years. Like, I hope the one thing Tony takes away from this weekend, in game 3s in conference play this year, we were 4-6. If you're going to win at a championship level in this country, you have to have 3 shutdown starters.
At least 3, yes.
And I think he's got at least one coming back. It's possible Marcus Phillips may return too, but I have a feeling, and it may come from the Cape Cod League. When that game ended today, Ariel Antigua, Michael Sharman, and Austin Breedlove headed to the Cape Cod League. They're all on the same team, and their team is loaded with other players from the SEC. And I can promise you that they were told before they got on that flight, hey, have your phone ready, because Tony Vitello is going to be sending messages through them to the guys on their team about what it could look like being a Vol next year. So I think the sky's the limit for this roster. I'm excited to watch what goes down over the next month. In the midst of what's going to be, I think, an unbelievable transfer portal class and recruiting class. We're also going to have a bunch of guys get drafted insanely high. We've got 2 or 3 guys in this recruiting class that could go in the first round. It's going to be interesting to see who goes, who stays. But I'm going to tell you right now, this team is going to be very good next year.
Well, my thoughts about this weekend, I mean, I 100% agree. Arkansas was the better team. And, people were saying, well, we only had 2 hits, yesterday. Well, 2 hits was almost enough. Today, kudos to the Cavalon or Gavilon, I can't remember his name. That kid that hit the Grand Slam. Davalon, there you go. That was a phenomenal hit. That pitch was off the plate on the outside corner, like off the outside corner, and dude went out and got it and hit it opposite field for a Grand Slam. I mean, big time players step up in big time moments. I mean, like that was a huge moment, and kudos to that kid. I mean, that was a great hit. When I think about this season as a whole, I think a lot of people I hope people don't suffer from recency bias and think about today getting beat 11-4, which shout out Jay Abernathy for killing that ball in the bottom of the 9th inning.
He smoked it.
That was beautiful to see. Newstrom, lace a double into the left center field gap, followed by Jay Abernathy just killing one. Jay Abernathy will be the leadoff hitter next year. That's my prediction right now. I think that's a pretty safe prediction. But I think when we take a step back and we look at this team, this was a very impressive season. It was the first team in in Tennessee baseball history to start the season 20-0. They were the first team to ever do it. We got to witness what may be one of the most impressive on-base streaks in the history of college baseball from Andrew Fisher. The dude got on base in every single game. Every single game. I asked Google's AI earlier if that had ever been done before. I typed in how many people in college baseball history have reached base safely in every game of the season. The response was, while there might be no official record keeping for this specific statistic, it's very unlikely many players have ever reached base safely in every game of a season. It could only come up with one other person. His name was Brian Ellis. He was an outfielder for Florida Gulf Coast University. He played, let's see, he was there 2021, 2022, and 2023. Check this out. He got on base safely 102 straight games. It started at the end of the 2021 season. He reached base safely every game during the 2022 season, and then the first part of the 2023 season. But that is the only other person that the interwebs could dive and find. So it is honestly probably pretty likely that Andrew Fisher is only the second person to ever reach base safely in every single game of a college baseball season. I mean, that is absolutely incredible. So we got to see a lot of really great things this year. If I had to say if there was one thing that was a disappointment on the season, honestly, I'm going to say it was how Dylan Loy was used throughout the season. I feel like this was a wasted year for him. I don't know if he was injured for part of it or what the deal was, but he did not get anywhere near as many innings as I hoped he would have. So I hope that changes for next year. And I hope he becomes either one of the weekend starters or the first guy out of the bullpen, because he's too good to not be on the mound. So hopefully that changes for next year. That would be my one negative takeaway from this year was I don't think we got the full Dylan Loy experience this year, which is unfortunate.
I think a lot of that was injury. I think they had to pick and choose their moments with him to try to maximize what they could get out of him. I know there was several times during the year when he was dinged up. So I think they just had to kind of make it work.
Mississippi Vol said that feat by Andrew is very, very impressive. I totally agree. I'm going to go through the comments here real quick. Mississippi Vol, welcome, buddy. He said, good evening, Evan and Russ. Hope you enjoyed your weekend. Had the old chessboard out, just enjoying, relaxing. That's what I'm talking about. Jonathan said, hey, welcome, Jonathan. He said, hello, Evan and Ruston chat family. Hope everybody had a great weekend. James, welcome. Good to see you. Herb said, welcome, Herb. He said, honestly, I think we gave game one away and would have put pressure on them today.
I mean, the reality is Root did a fantastic job in game one. I mean, we didn't hit. It just comes down to that. And, sometimes when you're a college pitcher or pro pitcher, there's certain teams that you just don't throw well against. Like, it's just not a good matchup. And Liam Doyle clearly does not throw well against Arkansas. This is now 2 outings in a row where they've just lit him up. And I get that. I had I had a school in college that was like that. I just didn't matter what didn't matter how good I was throwing. I could not throw well against this one team. Everything I threw, they hit. And it just is what it is. And Liam Doyle, for him, Arkansas is that team. I mean, I saw a lot of people criticizing Tony for taking him out after 3 2/3, but my goodness, they were hitting everything he was throwing. Tony was just trying to get back in the game, and leaving Liam Doyle out there was not going to get them back in the game. They were just going to keep scoring at will.
Well, when he was taken out of the game, it was a 3-1 game. It's that very next at bat, or 2 at bats later, I think it was, when the dude hit the grand slam. That's what blew it wide open. 3-1 is very different than 7-1. That's for sure. Of course, that didn't stop them. They kept scoring after that. But, John, welcome, buddy. He said we did lose to a better team. 5 years in the Supers. Good job, guys. Absolutely. Fantastic. Jonathan said the baseball team had a good season. Unfortunately, had an off weekend this weekend. Great season would have been a trip to the World Series. I mean, that's the goal for sure. Like, once you get to the College World Series, even if you don't win it all, I think that, that is all you can really ask for, because anything can happen, once you get there. But making it to the Super Regionals is still a heck of a year, too. I mean, it means you're one of the best 16 teams in the country. Let's see here. Mississippi Vol said, I agree, Russ. Arkansas was just better than we were in all phases this weekend. It is what it is. Regardless of your coach or how good your program is, you're not getting Omaha every year. 100% correct. 100% correct. Yep. James said, I agree, Ruston. My biggest complaint is the NCAA not reseeding after the regionals. Coastal Carolina cakewalked into Omaha. The umps were awful in both games as well, one-sided. The umps yesterday did not have a good day. I think that is a fair assessment. The guy behind the plate, that dude, man, that was rough. I don't think Coastal Carolina cakewalked into Omaha, though.
They waxed a really good Auburn team in 2. I mean, that was impressive. I was actually coaching today at a baseball tournament, and that was probably the thing people were talking about more than anything, was how easily Coastal handled Auburn. That's a good Auburn team, and Coastal acted like they were a nobody.
Well, think about it like this. The Dutton kid who pitched for Auburn game 1, he shut Tennessee down. I mean,
if he decided to enter the portal, Tony would take him tomorrow.
Oh, for sure. I mean, he dominated Tennessee. And Coastal Carolina was like, all right, let's go. And they hit him.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan said, I think the defense all year cost us. We've done well defensively this weekend, but if we had been better defensively this year, we would have probably been at home this weekend. That's actually very, very true. They gave away a lot of series, lose like a rubber game on Sundays. Defense kind of, mistakes throughout the season cost them some series. So it is very possible that they could have been hosting a super regional if they had not lost 6 straight series to end the season.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Tony. Hey, welcome, Tony. Good to have you. He said, going to need a lot of help next year. I hope Bargo and Peebles get drafted or transfer. I mean, let's not forget Dalton Bargo had maybe the hardest hit ball of all of Tennessee's players in game 1. He hit the ball so hard it almost took the first baseman's mitt, off his hand, and he dropped it because he hit it so hard. Dalton had a rough weekend, I agree, but he was arguably, other than Andrew Fisher and Gavin Keelan, Dalton Bargo was probably our 3rd most consistent hitter all year long.
Yeah. Dalton finished the season hitting .272 with 14 bombs and 40 RBIs. Cannon hit .253 with 11 bombs and 41 RBIs. And my only thing would be compare Cannon's numbers to Cal Stark. Like, Cal Stark was almost an automatic out.
We do not win the regional if Cannon Peebles is not playing.
No.
Cannon had some massive, massive timely hits in that series.
Now, I think one thing that we were really missing this year is leadership. And to that previous comment about Dean Curley, I think he was the only leader in the dugout. And, when you hear the players talk about him, like there was never a conversation about Dean coming out of the lineup. The players would have revolted if Dean came out of the lineup. They all respect him. They all look up to him. He is the clear dugout locker room leader. Now, where that's concerning is you got guys like Hunter Inslee, you got Cannon Peebles, you got Dalton Bargo. Why aren't they viewed that way? Especially Hunter Inslee. And so I think if there's one thing that I would take away from this season, they need to spend a lot of time in the offseason with Dalton Bargo, Cannon Peebles, and Reese Chapman teaching them how to lead. Because those three need to be very vocal, outspoken leaders next year. And I think there was a serious leadership vacuum on this roster.
Rusty, welcome. Good to have you. He said losing so many season series put us at a disadvantage. I agreed. He said we shouldn't have seen Arkansas until Omaha. Really needed to win those LSU and Auburn series. Yeah, I mean, those, especially LSU, they handed that one to LSU. Elijah, welcome, buddy. Good to have you as a channel member. Appreciate you, buddy. I'm glad you're with us. Herb said Siebert, who had surgery and was ranked higher than Coons.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't list him when I listed off all the returners. But yes, he will be back. Aaron Anson Siebert.
Elijah said
big 6'8" kid.
Elijah said we now enter the worst part of the year when it comes to athletics. Nothing till late August. Yep, it's true.
True statement.
It's very sad. It is, what is today? The 8th? Yeah, today is June the 8th. It is very sad that now the next closest thing is mid-July and it's SEC Media Days. That's what's sad. Everybody's now looking forward to SEC Media Days. Let's see. Tony said Ruston will have a few to transfer. I agree.
Absolutely. We'll have some that will be told to transfer. And that's what I was saying. I think the next month is going to be fascinating to watch because Tony's apparently going to be out on a recruiting warpath. And, the reality is there are only so many spots, and we've got at least 22, maybe 23 or 24 already returning. So it's going to be interesting to see who's told, hey, look, love you, but you're going to have to find somewhere else. We've already had 3 hit the portal who never stepped foot on the field this year. So you're going to have that. I'm talking about
one of whom was pitching in a summer league during game 1 of this super regional. I was like, are you kidding me?
Well, he wasn't traveling with him anyway. He already hit the portal and he's not dressed. He wasn't on the travel squad. So, there's no reason for him not to. Those kids are effectively done for the summer and at home. So they should go play for somebody else. They're not on the team anymore. So, it's going to be interesting to see how they comprise the next roster and what he does in the portal. But I guarantee you there's going to be a lot of phone calls to those 3 dudes in the Cape Cod League. And there's going to be a lot of guys getting some behind the scenes conversations up there.
And let's not forget, that's a 2-way street. So, our guys are going to be getting phone calls from other people too.
The other thing
I'll be shocked if Ariel Antigua is on our roster next year, personally, because he's a phenomenal defender, but he's had 2 seasons now where he just can't get the bat going, and that's not going to make it in the lineup at Tennessee.
He's on the same team in the Cape Cod League with Sharman and Breedlove. Tony would not have let coaches have some say in that. Tony, if he wasn't coming back, Tony would not have let the 3 of them be on the same team. That would have been detrimental and problematic for all 3 of them. The other thing that's going to be interesting, I forgot what I was going to say. I want to defend Dalton Bargo on one other thing. Dalton Bargo was not supposed to hit 4-hole this year. Dalton Bargo was forced into that situation because Alberto Osuna was never named eligible. Okay. Think about what this roster looks like.
That's true.
If Osuna is in his spot in the 4-hole, now he's playing first base. Andrew Fisher is playing third base. Left field can still be Dalton Bargo, but all of a sudden you got more options. Like Manny Marin may be the DH, he may not be. You've got the whole lineup gets changed if Alberto Osuna is sitting in that 4th spot playing first base.
Yeah, sure.
And they all thought he was. Like that was the plan. All of a sudden, Dalton Bargo's hitting 5 or 6. Now you've got a power bat a little further down in the lineup, which also pushes Dean Curley to 6 or 7. Now you've got a power bat who can surprise people lower in the lineup, who's going to see more fastballs because the farther you get down the lineup, the more fastballs you see. So, this is a very different lineup, very different batting order. And Dalton Bargo is not in the pressure cooker of being the 4-hole if Alberto Osuna is playing.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Jonathan said, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe and notification bell. I think that's excellent advice. He said, tell your mom and them about the Vol Bros. Hey, I totally agree. Text a buddy about the Vol Bros. That's what I'm talking about. Very much appreciate that. Tony said, it doesn't matter who we get recruiting or transfer. It matters who makes it to campus. Yeah, that's right. Steve, welcome. Hey, Steve, good to have you. This is a channel member here. Happy Sunday, bros and bro fam. Never a great feeling when we lose, but the run will continue. No flukes in this program. Totally agree. He's using those member emojis. I love those things. I love getting on YouTube and looking at them. I love seeing the badges as well. If you are a watch party fan member or an honorary fan member of our channel, I posted a quick reaction video last night after that game ended. Just a reminder, when football season rolls around, we're going to do that for every game that both of us, the night that game happens. Because, we always go live on Sunday to give ourselves time to think, well, you're going to get a raw reaction. If you're a honorary fan member or a watch party fan member. Let's see. Carl, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. He said, great show, disappointed, but good season. Cape Cod lead opening day is June 14th. If I'm not wrong, and who knows, maybe the boys let's go and bring somebody with them. Absolutely.
Remember, that's how we ended up with Robin Villanueva. That was a Cape Cod League conversation and transfer. You're right. Opening day for Cape Cod is June 14th. The players who are no longer playing, whose seasons are over, are already there. They get there earlier this week, all throughout this week as their seasons end. And they spend about a week to a week and a half having practices and scrimmages so that the coaches know exactly what they have to work with. And then opening day is June 14th.
Jonathan said he thinks that what Andrew Fisher did this year, making it safely on base every single game, was one of the most impressive things he's seen in a while. I totally agree. I mean, that was history. Like, we watched history being made there.
Yeah.
Sam, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. He said Coastal Carolina's pitching is excellent. They're just a fantastic baseball team. They won like 25 straight games or something like that. I mean, they're on fire. Let's see. I bleed orange. Welcome, buddy. Good to have you. So, what are your guys' thoughts on next year's team potentially? Ruston answered that earlier. I'm like 20 minutes behind, or 11 minutes behind on the the comments. Dester, as a channel member, appreciate you, buddy. He said Coastal played lights out. I hope they keep playing that well. Me too. That's what I'm pulling for the rest of the way. They're really fun. Their coach, what was it? Their coach said something today that was just really awesome. It was something about his kids. When they went to the College World Series in 2017, the kids weren't able to go due to health issues or something like that. They're like severe health issues. and I think it was his son, and his son survived, and he's getting to go back for the first time this year and see it and be part of it. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. That's really cool. Steve said, yes, Ruston, it was leadership at key moments that this team missed. He agrees with you. Tony said Bargo was 2 for his last 42. I'm sorry, but Abernathy would have been in left field.
Yeah, he had a little bit of a slump there. That stat, and I wish they'd stop showing that because they kept talking about and showing it. That stat was a little misleading. There were a lot of at-bats in that 42 that he was hitting rockets right at people.
Yeah,
great example was yesterday. He had a missile at the first baseman. The kid had no chance to field that ball. It ricochets off of him into right field, and they call it an error. Kid never even saw it. It got on him so fast. He was playing self-defense. He wasn't trying to field the ball. He was trying not to die. And they call it an error. And it's like, I was watching with my son when that happened, and my son was like, how's that an error? He had no chance to field that ball. So he had some crazy stuff like that go against him too. But he also, I mean, I think, can't remember which regional game it was. There was a regional game where he was 0 for 4, and 3 of them were line drives right at people. 2 of them were the 2 hardest hit balls of the entire game. And it's like, you can't win. So I guarantee you that's a quad chart special right there. When guys are hitting rockets at people, as a coach, you just ignore the batting average and keep swinging.
Yeah. Will's with us. Welcome, Will. Good to have you, buddy. Hey, Will, remind me, I was thinking about you today. Weren't you the guy who was the golf pro at a place in Ohio? Tell me if I'm right about that. Former golf pro or former teaching pro. I think that was you. Remind me, because when we did our live stream from the simulator lounge at the Oldewall Club, somebody referenced my over-the-top move and the start of my downswing. And I was not intelligent enough to know what that was at the time, but I've since learned what it was. And so today I spent 2 hours at the driving range trying to fix that over-the-top motion and start my downswing by dropping my hands first. So tell me if that was you, Will. If so, I thank you for calling that out so I could learn what it was. Robert, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. He said, wouldn't surprise me if Arkansas wins at all. Totally agree. He said, what happened to Auburn is the reason it's so hard to win the World Series. Yeah, I mean, Arkansas is, I mean, they're the best team in the country right now, as far as I'm concerned. But I think them and Coastal Carolina are both going to be fun to watch in this tournament. UCLA, I think if we could say any team had a cakewalk to the College World Series, it was UCLA. They went 2-0 against Texas San Antonio. Duke is now going to a game 3 tomorrow with Murray State. So that's pretty cool. But the super regionals overall have been very entertaining. North Carolina goes out and wins game 1, 18-2, and then lose the next 2 games, and Arizona goes to the College World Series. I mean, it's anything can happen any day. Let's see. I Bleed Orange said, can they force you to transfer? Or do you have a say in it at the end of the day? That's a great question.
So this is the shady underbelly of college athletics, and it's really bad in baseball. Can they force you to transfer? 100%. And not only can they force you to transfer, sometimes they won't even tell you they're planning on it. They just call them and tell them they're cut. There are some really crappy individuals in college baseball who do that all the time. One of the things that I really appreciate about Tony Vitello's staff, this upcoming week, they'll have exit interviews. They'll meet with every single player. They'll talk to them about what their future is at UT. They'll talk to them about who their targets are in the transfer portal. And they'll have conversations with them about, what do they want their future to look like? Some of them will be leading conversations where they say, look, hey, if we get this guy and this guy, you're not going to play next year. And so it's probably to your benefit to go ahead and jump in the portal. Some of them, they'll say, hey, we're not sure what's going to happen with this one guy we're after. We would love for you to stay and fight it out with him, but no guarantees. He could show up and beat you out. So they are. and I've heard this from so many families. They are so transparent with their players about what they're doing in recruiting, who they're trying to get, how that affects the roster. Like, their players are very aware of where they stand. So that's one reason why I say the next month is going to be fascinating. And the next comment, Bobby asks who I think will transfer out. I have no idea. And it's going to be really interesting to see. And I think what's going to dictate that is, number one, what happens with the draft. We've got some high school kids coming in that have just insane talent levels, and some of them may opt to come to Tennessee rather than go ride a bus in single A. So that's going to be interesting to see how many of them show up. The other thing is Tony. I mean, he's already in his post-game press conference talking about it. Tony's about to hit the portal like a madman. So I think what we're going to see is we're going to see maybe some surprises. Some guys are going to transfer out because they've been told, hey, there's this dude in the portal at Auburn that we're going to go get, and sorry, we don't have a spot for you. So it's going to be fascinating.
And if people wonder why that's happening, just think about, just go on Twitter tonight. Like that, you'll see why it's happening.
Oh, yeah.
People have zero patience. We just made it to a super regional and people were like, seasons, I can't believe this happened. Like, it's a super regional. That's pretty good. People
only team in the history of college baseball to make 5 in a row.
I mean, we're the winningest team in the country in Division I baseball since 2018. And people are like, this wasn't good enough. Like, there is zero patience in college athletics.
And within the next year, we're going to have a facility that rivals any facility in the country.
Yeah, people in Knoxville need to let us know if the construction crew's already at Lindsey Nelson, because they better be.
They are. They showed them showing up the day. That's why they had to do one practice at the Smokies Stadium. Number one, they wanted to get on turf, but number two, they were having to contend with construction. I mean, yeah, with grass. But they were also having to contend with construction.
But I mean, like this, what we're seeing tonight is why the transfer portal is being utilized by every country or every program in the country, because there is no, we'll develop these guys for next year. No. People are like, we're going to win now. That's the thing. And if you don't, people are ticked off. And so that's why they're hitting the transfer portal so hard. Nolan, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. He said, do y'all think pitching, that's a channel member, by the way. So do y'all think pitching will improve or not next year? I think pitching was a big reason we were so bad on Sundays. 100% agree with that about Sundays. And that's what's so frustrating is AJ Russell never became the guy people thought he'd be when he got back. He was going to be the dude. Like you roll out there, Liam Doyle, Marcus Phillips, and AJ Russell. Yeah, sign me up for that. We'll beat every team in the country. And it just didn't work out that way.
Yeah. AJ fought through it, but you could tell he was not the same. He needs some time off to prove that he's fully healthy come draft time. As hyper competitive as Tony Vitello is, the reason I know the pitching staff will be better next year is there is no one in that dugout, no one, no player, no coach, no one more competitive than Frank Anderson. Frank Anderson will make sure that what happened on Sundays this year will never happen again.
And I mean, here's the thing. We're talking about the transfer portal, that kind of stuff. That's where you're going to find who's going to be starting next year.
Yeah.
I would be, of all the guys they got on the staff right now, Tegan Coons and Dylan Loy might be 2 of the 3 starters. But don't be shocked if there is at least 2, if not 3 dudes from the transfer portal that are brought in to be starters on the weekends if Marcus Phillips doesn't return. That's where the transfer portal is going to be very active for Tennessee. Carl, welcome, Carl. There's a channel member. Carl's the man. We're so glad you're with us, Carl. He said, wasn't the season for my orange colored glasses called for, but was a really good season. Amen, brother. I mean, everybody wants Omaha for sure. But at the end of the day, what they did this season was really, really impressive. Like I said, first team in Tennessee baseball history to start 20-0. Andrew Fisher becomes certainly the only guy in Tennessee baseball history, and apparently one of only two guys, at least that is known of, to get on base every single game of the season in college baseball history. Shout out Brian Ellis, the other guy from Florida Gulf Coast University. That 2022 season was magical for him. So, it's what they accomplished this year was very, very impressive. Rhonda, there's a channel member. Good to have you, Rhonda. She said, good evening. Had a recital weekend and VBS family. And that's what I'm talking about. She said, I heard I didn't miss too much with the games. Yeah, today was kind of rough. Especially there was one really rough inning, but overall, just not what, people were hoping for, obviously. But great season overall. Thank you for serving in your church's VBS. I appreciate that very much. Sam said, how do you see the new revenue? Oh, there it is. I knew it was coming up. Sam, we're going to talk about that here in just a little bit. Absolutely. So I'm gonna put a star by both of those comments from Sam because we're gonna get to that. Let's see here. Charles, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. He said all those numbers are great, but coaching matters. Well, Tennessee's the winningest program in the country in the last 5 years, so I think they got a good coaching staff. I don't think we got to worry about that. Will asked an interesting question. Who are you taking, Ruth or Ohtani? Those are very different eras.
Don't care because we're talking about pro baseball. When the best of 3 series of the College World Series ends, I will not watch one pitch of professional baseball from the time the college season ends until the end of the World Series. I look forward to when the World Series ends because it frees up time for more football on television. I cannot stand professional baseball and refuse to watch one pitch.
Let's see here. Will said he is. So Will, all right, man. I'm going to post a video comparing my swing 3 weeks ago with what it looks like now. Trying to fix my downswing today. I was sitting there recording because I can't see myself on a swing, so I had my phone on a tripod behind me, filming down the line at the range, so I could see my hand movement, in my swing. Y'all couldn't see, like I was going like this, my downswing there. Let's see, Nolan. Does anyone else think we pull Liam too soon today?
He was getting shelled. He
was also at just over 70 something pitches too, and
only in the 4th inning.
Right.
In less than 4 innings, he had already given up 5 hits. He had walked 2. He had 2 wild pitches. At that point, he had 3 earned runs. It ended up being 5. He just wasn't. Oh, he also plunked 1. So in less than 4 innings, he gave up 5 hits, 3 free bases, 2 wild pitches. The reality is when guys are missing that badly, it's because they're trying to make bats miss because they can't make bats miss. They're getting hit. They feel it. They know they're getting hit. And, I think the coaching staff was looking at each other going, if we leave him out there much longer, it's about to explode. Like they're going to score 10 runs. He was getting shelled.
Mr. Osborne, welcome, buddy. That's our guy right there. Appreciate you. He said, overall, still a great season for our baseball team. Agreed. As Coach Vitello at the end of a great Tennessee Vols sports team as a whole. Looking forward to August 31st 2025 and defeating Syracuse. Go Vols, baby. Appreciate that. Absolutely. Let's see. James said NCAA still needs to reseed. Yeah,
Never going to happen.
Here's so what we witnessed today is why Ruston and I were saying we want to go to North Carolina, an ACC school, to play a super regional. You know, are you telling me Arizona's a better team than Tennessee? No, they're not. And Arizona walks in there, gets waxed game 1, and then wins game 2 and 3, and now they're going to the College World Series. So, that's where we wanted to be. We wanted to be in North Carolina playing, UNC in a super regional. So, just unfortunate how it shaked out for Tennessee. And
look at Duke and Murray State. I mean, there's
sure.
And part of it is just, it's just like March Madness in basketball. You're going to have these upsets. Teams are going to move on. Right now, when I look at the way the brackets lay out, we may have an Arkansas Coastal Carolina national championship. You never know what's going to happen.
Those are probably the two best teams in the tournament right now. Let's see. Sam asked a good question. He said, Ruston, can you have developmental players who are not on the roster?
No, you get a few redshirt spots, but it's not much.
Okay, I'm going to ask a different question. Can you have developmental players who are not on your roster?
Oh, yeah. Lots of those. Those are scattered all over the country. We've said this before. The best coaches in the country are placing kids at other programs. And this isn't new. Mike Krzyzewski used to do this. You find a program you trust, you make a deal. Hey, I'll send you this kid for a year. He can get reps. He can help you out, help you win games. But next year he's coming to me. That's a normal thing.
Rhonda said, if you could get one player from another team, who would you want? Oh, that's a good question. I'd have to think about that for a minute. Give me a pitcher. That's all. I mean, I know immediately it's a pitcher.
I'd have to look at the Cape Cod rosters.
I mean, I'd be cool with that Dutton kid from Auburn because he shut us down. The Dutton kid from Auburn shut down Tennessee more than any other pitcher we faced this year until yesterday. So, I mean, I'd take that kid for sure. Let's see here. Will asked a really good question. Will asked a great question. I'm going to star that, and we're going to come back to it when we talk about NIL stuff. Will, that's a really good question. Sam said they're not going to do any overhead crane work with anyone underneath. Yeah, for sure. That's why I hope they're there already, because they ain't there. Tennessee's not there. I hope they are booking it. I want that place to be finished before next season starts. Mississippi Vol said, think about it this way, guys. Mike Martin coached at now this. Okay. Yeah. He said, Mike Martin coached at Florida State for 42 years. His first year was 1980. They went to Omaha half of the time, and he never brought one home in 20 plus tries. That's a great point. Mike also has one of maybe the most unbreakable records in college baseball. He had 40 years of 40-win seasons. How crazy is that? 40 years of 40-win seasons. That's bananas. I mean, that is absolutely incredible. Big Orange, welcome. Good to have you. Said, sup, Vol Bros. I'm content with the national title for now, but how y'all think we look next year? So we've been talking about that. They got massive recruiting stuff coming in. I mean, they're going to be fine. Carlson, Liam, Golden Spikes can absolutely. I mean, when you think about this year as a whole, we talked about all the amazing things they did. Starting 20-0, first team in school history to do that. Andrew Fisher gets on base literally every single game. You have a Golden Spike. There's only 3 players in the whole country that are Golden Spikes finalists. It goes to the best player in college baseball. And Liam Doyle very well may get that. Aloy didn't do anything at the plate hardly at all this weekend. And so the only thing he did really was the over-the-shoulder catch today. So, I mean, if you're looking at head-to-head this weekend, you got to kind of give it to Liam.
So Ariel, Michael Sharman, and Austin Breedlove are going to be playing for the Chatham Anglers. And just on their roster alone, there are 2 power arms from TCU that I would love to have either one of them. One of Dallas Baptist's top 3 starters is on their team. I would love to have him. There was one other an interesting one, but he could be a good fit at Tennessee. The left-handed pitcher from Florida State, Wes Mendez, who got thrown out of the regional and got suspended for the super regional for cussing out the opposing dugout. He is on their team. He's fiery. He's one of those guys, you hate him if he's on the other team. You love him if he's on yours. I could see him fitting in with Tennessee very well. And probably the most interesting one to me is Auburn's best returning outfielder, Cade Bellew, is on their team. I would love to see Cade Bellew in Knoxville. So, yeah, there's multiple guys on their Cape Cod League team that be just fine if they were in a Vol uniform.
Rhonda said, I feel like next season we could be dangerous. Definitely this team learned a lot. This should help anyone coming back next season. For sure. Big Orange said, meanwhile, it looks like Florida State won't get their first World Series title either. They're currently losing in it's only the second inning, but they are down 7-3. But he said, we need to be grateful we got it done absolutely last year for sure. Herb said today when it was bases loaded, no outs, and Fisher hit into a double play that killed us. Definitely killed a lot of momentum in that particular moment for sure. Mississippi all agreed with him. He doesn't care about MLB.
Or the NBA.
Will laughs. So tell me how you really feel about it.
Major League Baseball and the NBA could all go play in Saudi Arabia together. I couldn't care less.
Let's see. Big Orange said, great programs never win every single year. That's true. Absolutely. Carl said, only time he looks at MLB game is if a Vol like Jordan Beck is at the Rockies playing. He said, I guess I'm still just watching the Vols, not the Rockies. Shout out Todd Helton.
There's
check Todd the right here.
Yeah. I'll check the box score the next day. I'm not spending oxygen on watching those games.
Let's see. Eric, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. He said, what's up, Vol Bros? Was unfortunate for our Vols losing the Supers, but still a good season. And I think Tennessee will be back to the Supers next year with what they have coming in. I totally agree. 100% agree. Let's see. I use all the emojis. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, I forgot to put the other. I got to put 2 more on there. I can do that. I got to do that. Nolan said, what returning pitchers do y'all think will come back next year and be big contributors? Will Arkansas help out? And what about, will Ark, I'm not sure who that is, will help out? And what about Coon's brother? So, as far as people returning on the mound, Tegan Coons is going to be a massive part of that. Like I said earlier, I'm hoping Liam Doyle is going to be a massive part of that.
Anson Siebert.
You've got Arvidsson coming back. Binky, where was he this year? That him and Liam Doyle both are kind of.
He dealt with a lot of injury.
He and Liam Doyle, I hope, both have really big bounce back years next year because they need them to.
The guy you need to be watching is Michael Sharman. They're high, and Austin Breedlove. They're high on those 2 guys. Like, you don't get invited to the Cape Cod League unless everybody's expecting you to have a breakout year the next year. The Cape Cod League is as much about pro scouts saying, hey, we want to see more of these guys as it is people just showing up. So the fact that Michael Sharman and Austin Breedlove both got invited to Cape Cod, that's a big deal. Those 2 are going to be big contributors next year.
Mr. Osborne asked a very good question about the NIL stuff. Actually, is the very first question Ruston asked when we were talking about it too. So we'll get to that here in just a second as well. Josh, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. He said, I need more pitchability pitchers next year. This year was all just guys that could throw hard outside a few pitchers. Arkansas had the two flukiest home runs I've ever seen because our guys throw 100 miles an hour. Now, that is interesting that the exit velocity on the two home runs were 83 and 84 miles per hour.
Yeah. I think that goes back to what I was saying about injuries. I think, we talk about pitchability. I think some of those guys were fighting through injuries all year.
Will said he agrees with you. He feels that way about the NBA. JL said we just lost too much talent from last year's team. I mean, yeah, but we still went to the super regional, so it was a phenomenal year. 4 years ago or 5-6 years ago, if we got a super regional, we'd be tickled pink right now. We're in the good old days. I'll put it that way. We can't not appreciate what we got for sure. John said, I don't know if y'all talked about it or not. Who do you think gets drafted from this year's team? That's a good question. Andrew Fisher, Liam Doyle are both going to be drafted in the first 1 or 2 rounds.
Yeah. Well, Liam Doyle's going to be in the first 5 picks.
Yeah.
Dean Curley will go in the first 5 rounds. Gavin Keelan will go in the first 3 rounds. Nate Snead will go somewhere, probably top 10 rounds. Hunter Inslee may get selected late. People like good locker room guys, so he may get selected late. People are saying Andrew Fisher is going to go low first round, high second round. That he's played his way up the draft charts. Like I said, Liam will go first 5 picks. Let's see. Marcus Phillips is the one that's a huge question mark for me. He has a massive ceiling, and there may be a pro team that takes a chance on him real early to try to get him to leave Tennessee just because his ceiling is so huge. So it'll be interesting to see if he comes back or if he gets drafted really high.
When you said take a chance, I immediately thought of Andy Menard. Take a chance, take a chance, take a chance.
Yeah. Alberto Osuna will get drafted somewhere. It'll probably be late because he had the year off. Tanner Franklin will get drafted somewhere in the first 10 rounds because you touch 100, they want you.
Yeah.
That'll be it. That'll be the list.
Isn't it funny that we're saying that's it? That'll be it. And it was like 7 or 8 dudes.
Yeah. It'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It'll be at least 7, maybe 8 guys, depending on if what Marcus Phillips does. And then, who knows what'll happen with our signing class? Because I saw a projection the other day. What was the number I told you? We had 17 of the top 200.
17.
Yeah. Our signing class is just ridiculous. When you look at the top 200 prospects in America, and we have 17 of them in our recruiting class, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Nolan was talking about Arvidsson. Yeah. There you go. Josh said, can't have black holes in the lineup next year. Bargo and Chapman need to earn their spots. No, hopefully just given to them. The dude's played well.
Yeah.
Like I said,
Dalton hit 274 with 14 home runs and 40 RBIs. And he wasn't supposed to be hitting 4-hole. He was supposed to be further down the lineup. Alberto Osuna was supposed to be hitting 4-hole.
Let's see. Rhonda said we were spoiled from last year. Used to hitting on 2 outs, 2 strikes, clutch hits. They were so mature and downright indestructible, but that didn't happen overnight. Yeah, that's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Herb said Henry Ford that visited would be a huge pickup if he makes it to campus.
Yeah.
Carl said was thrilled to see Abernathy with 2 outs hit his first home run. Absolutely, man. That was awesome. Totally agree. Josh said, keep in mind pitchers can get much better in a year. Cade Anderson had an ERA of 27 in SEC play last year. He's one of the best pitchers in the country this year. I expect Coons to make a huge jump. Hope so. They're going to need him to.
I expect him to. I expect Brandon Arvidsson to. I expect Michael Sharman. I expect Austin Breedlove. You got to remember, Brandon Arvidsson's been at JUCO. He hasn't seen a true strength program off season. The jump he'll make from this year to next year should be pretty huge. Same for Michael Sharman. And then getting Anston Siebert back off Tommy John, who knows what he'll be. But I mean, that Joker's 6'8". Like, if he gets back to normal velocity from throwing from 6'8", it's going to be getting there.
Let's see here. John said, how can Curley be draft eligible if he's a sophomore? I thought you couldn't leave until you were a junior.
It's based on age. It's not based on grade in school. So he's draft eligible. He's what's called a draft eligible sophomore.
One Baseball America rates him the 23rd best prospect in this year's draft.
He'll go somewhere in the first 2 rounds.
Let's see. Josh said Florida State, Oregon State going to finish 20-19. He said we really didn't get the worst draw. These other teams have zero. We really did get the worst draw. These other 2 teams have 0 pitching. Yeah, for sure. Let's see here. Well, we're caught up on the comments, so let's move on to the NIL stuff. I've starred all the comments we got about that. Sam said, how do you see the new revenue sharing and NIL agreement affecting the team? Will there be resources to help players get NIL opportunities set up? So here's, just so everybody understands what everybody's talking about. It was the House settlement happened 2 days ago. I think it was 2 days ago. I think there's obviously some very good things that are coming out of this, but I think there are going to be some very negative things that also come out of it. So schools can directly pay players now up to $20.5 million. There is now a cap at $20.5 million. But we need to clarify that. That is from the school. That is not from outside deals that these players get too. So, for example, one of the best NIL deals ever, DeColdis Crawford, when he was at Kentucky, had an NIL deal with a heating and air conditioning company. And that was like a match made in heaven, which is still why I don't get Squirrel White and Brown Squirrel Furniture never made a deal. In Knoxville, I don't get that. But the school can pay the students $20.5 million total. The students still can independently, get some deals outside of that. Now, there are a lot of interesting factors with that. Ruston, do you want to mention what Clay Travis said, or do you want me to say it?
You can go ahead.
So Ruston from our Volbros account quote tweeted what Clay Travis mentioned, and Clay brought up a really interesting point. A lot of these schools are probably going to spend at least 60, maybe upwards of 70% of that money, if not more, on football, because it's the major moneymaker for every school. But what about schools that don't have a football team? And Clay he made a really good point. He said, think about schools like St. John's and all these other traditional basketball schools like Gonzaga. Yeah. These basketball schools, they're going to start bringing in the blue bloods may shift, because these schools are going to be able to offer tons more money to those players than schools like Auburn or Tennessee, or I don't know, Duke may spend more on, I don't know. That'll be interesting to see how they approach it, or North Carolina for sure. these schools, because listen, Belichick's going to make sure he gets his money at North Carolina. That's going to happen. So basketball will not have as much at North Carolina as it will at Gonzaga or St. John's. It's going to be fascinating to see how this ruling impacts March Madness every year. Who's going to, the powerhouses in basketball, that landscape may be shifting very soon. You want to say anything about it before we start answering the questions?
I could say a lot about it. I'll kind of summarize it with this. This is what happens when the federal government gets involved with college athletics. We get stupid rules that aren't going to hold up a day in court. I don't see any of this going into effect. Could be wrong, but I was reading an article and I just pulled it up and I just literally Googled what are the problems with the House settlement on NIL and found a great article where a lawyer broke down all the problems that exist and all the different ways that this is going to get sued. So, and when you hear the list of all the ways this is going to get sued, you immediately go, yeah, this ain't going to happen. Because it's just ridiculous. There are so many holes in this settlement, it won't hold up a day in court. So I'll give you a few examples. Fair market value. This ridiculous settlement said that any player who gets over $600 in NIL has to be vetted for market value. Okay, let me put that in perspective for you. Nyjah Kennedy, the pitcher at Texas Tech, just signed her second 7-figure NIL deal. Okay. She was not the national pitcher of the year. Carlin Pickens at the University of Tennessee was the national pitcher of the year. So by their fair market value, they're saying that Carlin Pickens' NIL program should be somewhere north of $2 million a year because that's what Nyjah Kennedy got. Okay, well, here's the first problem with that. What if Tennessee says, we don't want to give her $2 million? Now what? Is she going to leave? No, probably not, because she loves Tennessee. But how do we determine that a girl in Lubbock, Texas, fair market value is the same as a girl in Knoxville, Tennessee? Or let's take it to the West Coast. There's a pitcher at UCLA. Cost of living in California and the cost of living in Los Angeles is through the roof. How do you compare fair market value there to a pitcher in Knoxville, Tennessee, where the cost of living is a third? So there's your first problem with it. Number two, this has so many Title IX issues. It's the list is just astronomical. Like this doesn't pass the smell test on anything Title IX at all. So I'm not even going to go into all those, but like half the women's sports in America could sue the NCAA till they don't exist anymore and win this lawsuit. There's so many Title IX problems. The financial burden on the universities. Okay. They just said that every school can pay a cap of $20.5 million. Okay, well, let's use, I don't know, Fairfield University. Okay, Fairfield University doesn't have $20 million to give these kids. You just put their athletic department under. So all it's going to take is about 50 mid-majors who can't afford this to sue NCAA and go, you're trying to destroy our university. They're going to win that every day of the week. So there's another reason this ain't going to pass. And then, my favorite paragraph on here, the lawyer literally wrote, potential for further legal challenges. The settlement does not resolve all outstanding legal issues in college sports, particularly regarding the classification of athletes as employees and the potential for antitrust lawsuits. So they created a settlement that doesn't even resolve all the other things that they could be sued for. So all they really did was created another piece of legislature that they can now be sued for on top of all the other stuff they're going to be sued for. So I will just leave it at this ain't going to happen. This is not going to hold water. I will be stunned if this goes into place in the slightest because there are so many holes in this thing. It's, again, you don't want the federal government involved in this. They have no clue what they're doing.
JL, when we were talking about the basketball teams, he said all the Big East teams. Yep, absolutely. Josh said the clearinghouse thing is going to be sued into oblivion. Yep.
Yep.
Sam said the new under the table money is going to be NIL deals for players. You're exactly right. I expect your Alabama schools to be big players. We still need an organization to help players get NIL deals. Let's see. Mr. Osborne said, as for the new college football landscape starting July 1st, there will be lawsuits for sure. Danny White has stated we will end up with collective bargaining. I also wonder about Title IX. Yep. And he said in Olympic sports, how many will be cut? Absolutely. I mean, that's a
None,
serious issue.
because they'll all sue. It's because, again, the other thing is Title IX. We like to say Title IX is about fair play. Title IX is also involved in scholarshiping. It's involved in number of sports offered. There are schools in this country who have baseball program. There are schools in this country who have baseball programs because they added women's soccer, but not men. So you're going to have schools who are going to go, we can't do this. And if we have to cut our women's soccer program because of this, we also have to cut our baseball program. You're just adding layers of lawsuits. Like, this is not going to happen.
Will asked a very intriguing question. He said, now that college players are being paid, how long will it be until a struggling professional athlete that has eligibility left comes back to playing college to make more money? Is that allowed now? That's a great question. I guarantee you that what you're describing will happen. Someone will try to do that.
Somebody went straight into it'd probably be somebody who went straight into the G League out of high school and never technically joined the NBA. I could see that.
That would be a fascinating scenario. That's a really good question. Let's see. Josh said the amount of national media guys that have no concept of how this is illegal is astonishing. They are all sheep for the NCAA. Sam said,
all you have to do is just Google what I Googled. There are so many articles out there by attorneys talking about how ridiculous this is and how it's just going to get sued into oblivion.
Sam said, does this mean that a certain player at UCLA is finally going to get the pay cut he deserves? He already got that. He's going to be making about half of what he was making. Let's see. Josh said he's glad we got, Dondi and Danny who understand the problems here. Carl said Dalton is my guy, just like Inslee, who was Mr. Consistent, hit a dry spell late, was surprised Chapman didn't take off this year. Dude has hit some of the longest jacks I've seen. Yeah, Reese has got a fantastic swing. I hope he just improves for next year.
Mm-hmm.
Josh asked if anything about Zakai had been announced yet. Nothing's been announced. Josh said, any chance for Zakai in y'all's mind? He also said Tennessee's basketball roster has fallen behind now that a lot of guys withdrew from the NBA. We'll get a little worried about how the roster stands if we don't get Gainey and Zakai back. If they don't know, I'm sure Tennessee would also like to know.
Well, they've been hosting guys. They've got contingency plans. They just had the shooting guard from Bowling Green on campus the other day. They've got fallback plans ready.
You want to say, let's light a fire under somebody's rear end and get this, thing settled one way or the other, just so both parties can make plans and move on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, hopefully something happens soon, but as with everything in the legal system, it doesn't always move quickly, unfortunately. Rhonda said who withdrew from the NBA. So there are a couple guys like at other schools in the SEC who are going to go to the NBA, and then they withdrew their names. There's nobody at Tennessee. Well, any last thoughts about Tennessee's 2025 baseball season? Because we're about to do the baseball outro for, I think, the last time.
It's time for football season.
Less than 100 days until football season. And think about this. We are 22 days away from saying on July 1st, we can honestly say Tennessee plays football next month.
Mm-hmm.
So we're only 22 days away from that. Let's see. Sam said, is the revenue sharing money going to be distributed as a percentage to the sport generating?
Nope.
I think that's actually left up to every individual school to decide.
Yep. Which is another Title IX lawsuit waiting to happen.
Oh, no doubt about that. I mean, let's be honest here. Let's say a school, everybody knows at every university that football is the primary moneymaker. It just is. Like, that's just the way it is. So let's say that an ACC school is trying to make themselves relevant because they know they have a easier path to the college football playoff than schools in the Big Ten or the SEC. And so they take 70% of that $20.5 million and put it towards football. Okay. That only leaves 30% for all the other sports. You know, there's going to be some unhappy folks with that going down.
Yep.
And so there's, yeah, it's going to be interesting to say the least to see how that plays out. Rebel Jew, welcome, buddy. He said, join y'all late tonight. Had a bad weekend, only for it to end depressing with that loss. Oh man, I'm sorry about that. I hate to hear that. Hopefully your week starts looking ahead, looking better starting tomorrow. Nolan said, at what point can a player sue simply based off the fact that they are being held up from deciding on getting a job or getting ready to play ball again the following year? That's a great question. I mean, that is a legitimate question. That's a good question. Josh said this is going to be a big year for Heupel. Need to go 8-4 or better to keep the momentum. Okay. I agree with you, but I don't think the fan base at large will agree with you. I think the fan base at large is going to essentially demand 9-3 or better. Probably people are not, if they don't make the college football playoff, people are going to be ticked off. And if they go 9-3, they ain't going to make the college football playoff. So you got to be 10-2 to get in there. That's just the state of college athletics right now. And I'll be honest with you, I don't see Tennessee going 10-2 this year. Not with our current roster. Steve said we're number 10 in the ESPN Football Power Rankings. What do y'all think about that? You're exactly right. They are currently number 10 in the predicted power rankings.
I think any rankings anybody puts out this time of year is just an opportunity for clickbait. No one knows what these teams are yet.
Nobody really knows what Tennessee is yet. Because, listen, there's only two guys. There's only two who touch the ball in every single play, and it's the center and the quarterback. And Tennessee doesn't even know who's going to be taking the snaps yet. That was another thing, man. Everybody tonight on X was tweeting out video highlights of Joey Aguilar and stuff like that. Y'all, he may not be the starting quarterback. like everybody's tweeting stuff out about Joey. Joey may not be the dude. I said this Sunday night. No, this is Sunday night. I said this Thursday night when we were live. There's a reason why Joey ended up at UCLA.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason why Georgia and Alabama and Ohio State and Clemson and these other teams, why none of them were pursuing him.
Yep.
There's a reason why we, Tennessee, the Volunteers, weren't pursuing him. He was our like 5th or 6th choice.
Yep.
So he may not even end up being the dude, you know? Like it might be Merklinger or McIntyre.
Merklinger is attacking the offseason as if he's the guy.
So the point being is I think we all need to temper expectations for Tennessee this year.
Yep.
Because they just
and for everybody else. I mean, again, I talked about the other night. If DJ Lagway is full strength and playing well, Florida could be a contender. If Notre Dame finds a quarterback, they could be a contender. But right now, they don't have one. So, I think that same ranking had Notre Dame like 5th or 6th. How can they judge that? They have no quarterback. So they're all just guessing.
Sam said, doesn't football generate more than 70%? I'm sure at some schools it definitely does. Like you think about like the University of Toledo.
Texas A&M.
Yeah, absolutely. But like you think about like Toledo. Toledo's got they're okay football team. I mean, like they're historically pretty decent, each year. Make some noise, make a small bowl game, that kind of thing. You never hear about Toledo's basketball team or women's soccer team. You know what I'm saying? Like football, I'm sure, generates probably 80 or 90% of their revenue every year.
Yeah.
They none of their other sports are any good. So that was just the first one that came to mind. But I mean, you think about schools like that who have pretty good football teams,
and football's not really generating that much other than money games. They're scheduling money games against Power Fives to supplement the budget of the entire athletic department.
Exactly. Nolan said the NCAA isn't just wasting people's time; they're wasting time some players could get used to setting up the rest of their life. Yeah, you're exactly right. That's exactly right. They got to make a decision on Zakai and Jordan. They just have to. Mr. Osborne said a lot of sports writers think 75% will go to football, 15 to men's basketball, and 10 for everything else.
And see, the number one problem you've got there is the fact that men's is in front of basketball, because you're saying out loud right there that 85% of the budget is going to go to men's sports. That's a Title IX lawsuit waiting to happen.
Yep. Absolutely. And that was one of the things Mr. Osborne was mentioning earlier. Like the Title IX is going to be impacted by this for sure. He's exactly right. John said, I was hoping we win tonight for my birthday, but great show as always. Hope everyone has a great week. See you Thursday. Hey, happy birthday, John. Man, I'm so sorry that the Vols played terrible today. But happy birthday. Jay Abernathy hit a home run for your birthday. That's something to be excited about. We hope seriously, man, I hope you have had an awesome day. I hope you have a great week ahead of you. That's awesome. Josh said Heupel in the portal is an abomination. I mean, Hendon Hooker was one of those. Of course, I guess you could say Jeremy Pruitt brought him, but
Joe Milton,
is a pretty good addition. Agreed, not the greatest, but our only returning offensive lineman this year is
Jermod McCoy.
Lance Hurd. Jermod McCoy was a great addition. He's going to be a first-round draft pick next year. But I mean, I get what you're saying, but there have been some bright spots for sure. JL said Aguilar's going to light it up. I hope he does. As long as they can find someone, Reed Carringer mentioned this as well on Twitter. As long as they can find someone who can hit an open receiver running 2 steps behind the defense, that person, if they can do that, they're going to be a Heisman Trophy contender every year, because they're going to end up with crazy numbers, video game numbers of passing yards and passing touchdowns, because our receivers get behind the defense and then we can't hit them. If we can hit them, we're going to put up points like video games. Josh said it's so weird for Tennessee to be so good in the baseball and basketball portal and so bad in football. Well, yeah, we just talked a little bit about that. Let's see. Nolan said only 250 more days till college football comes back. Tune in for my 17th college football power ranking. That's pretty good. I like that. Rebel Juice said, can we rotate QBs throughout the season? Like, depending on their abilities, determines who they start against? I mean, they could, but is that what you want?
Heupel's a quarterback traditionalist. I think you could see that in the first 2 games. We may platoon quarterbacks until somebody wins the job, but I highly doubt you're going to see that happen against Georgia in game 3.
Right. I mean, they got a big game 3 right out the gate, so they got to have some stability there before then. This is going to be the first true quarterback competition since Heupel's been here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Tony said if Joey doesn't start, McIntyre should start. I predict 8-4. I mean, I think that's a safe prediction, actually. That I predicted 9-3, but 8-4 could very easily happen. Elijah said my expectations are 8-4. We still have an excellent defense that'll be able to carry us to a couple SEC wins for sure. Defense is going to be just fine. I'm looking forward to seeing them play. It's the offense that is just we just don't know. There's just so many unknowns right now. Let's see here. Rebel Juice said, don't worry, I think we make the playoffs this year, but the 2026 season is looking good. Sam said, I heard that our new basketball player got a deal with Adidas.
If you're talking about Nate Ament, he signed with Reebok.
Let's see. Nolan said, I think 8-4 should be the floor this year because of how easy a schedule we have. I mean, it's an SEC schedule, but the ceiling is probably 10 wins considering the setback at quarterback for sure. Mississippi Vol said, speaking of birthdays, I know of someone who has one coming up this Saturday. That's right. Pat Summit. Of course, we'll remember her fondly that day. But this Saturday is a big one for me. That's for sure.
Flag Day.
It is also Flag Day. That's true. Yep. Crossing a decade number this year. It's getting to me a little bit, actually. Josh said Oregon State pouring it on. That would be 6 teams from 6 different conferences in baseball. Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
Let's see. I Bleed Orange said, could you guys see Oregon State joining the SEC? I mean, that's a great question because I guarantee you they're looking for somebody to take them, them and Washington State both, the Pac-2 right now. Obviously, baseball would be a fit with the SEC, but I don't think Greg Sankey is going to go outside at least a somewhat reasonable Southeastern region team, to be in the SEC. But that's a good question.
They don't bring any money. They have no
right.
TV. They're a small market program. They have a miserable following. They would not bring any revenue at all.
Tony said, I think the offensive line can be better. I hope you are right, Tony. I think losing Cooper Mays and Javonte Spraggins, those are big losses, especially Cooper Mays. That is a huge, huge loss. The only returning offensive lineman we have right now is Lance Hurd. So they're going to have to really step it up for sure. Elijah said, if you told me in 2022 that in a few years our defense would be elite and our offense was questionable going into the season, I would have thought you were on crack. Here's my thing. I'm hoping that this is not the reverse scenario of 2012. If everybody remembers 2012, the offense was clicking, baby, on all cylinders. You had Tyler Bray, Justin Hunter, Cordero Patterson just going all over the place. But the defense couldn't stop anybody. Somebody posted on Twitter last night, I think it was. Oh, it was Wes Rucker. He posted on Twitter a clip from Cordero Patterson against Georgia. It was the third quarter, and Tennessee had scored. It was 2012. Tennessee, Cordell Patterson did a wide receiver reverse from like 40 or 50 yards out and took it to the house. And in the third quarter, that was Tennessee had scored 37 points in the third quarter against Georgia. Problem was Georgia had already scored 43 points. The defense just couldn't stop anybody. Let's see. Hell, I just said, yes, the southeastern state of Oregon. That's pretty good. Mississippi Vol said, that's right, Evan. If she were still with us, she would have celebrated her 73rd. We lost her way too soon. Talking about Pat Summit. Absolutely. Just heartbreaking to have lost her so early. I Bleed Orange said, my prediction is Joey Aguilar will play like Hendon Hooker. Now, here's the thing. If, and I say this, and I agree with you, there is potential for this to happen. If there were a school that would be a most likely scenario for him to play like Hendon Hooker did, it would be at Tennessee right now, especially right now, because he doesn't just have one quarterbacks coach on staff. He has 4 quarterback coaches on staff, one of whom was just nominated for the College Football Hall of Fame as a player, as quarterback. Shout out Josh Heupel. Yeah, that if there were a quarterback, nursery or greenhouse for growing quarterbacks, it's Tennessee right now. So, I hope that happens. I sure do. I like Sam's idea. He said, could Oregon State be everyone's 9th conference game and just throw themselves on the sword? I like that, actually. And hey, Oregon State might like that too. They could make some money by losing every game. That's actually not a bad idea. Al Blinard said Tennessee goes, whoa, buddy. He said Tennessee goes 11-1 and wins the SEC championship game and makes the national championship game. Joey Aguilar is in New York. All right, wait a minute. What time is it? It's 10:34 on June the 8th of 2025. I Bleed Orange. I'm gonna say this right now, buddy. You just said, let's see, 11-1, SEC champs, makes the national championship game, and Aguilar's a Heisman finalist. 4 things. All right. Everybody can bookmark this episode. You can write this down. I Bleed Orange. If 2 of those 4 things happen, any 2, doesn't matter. If 2 of those 4 things happen, I will send you any item from our merch store for free. You have my word. If 2 of those 4 things happen, you can take your pick of anything at thevolbros.com/shop, and I will send it to you. He said, what if I get all 4 right? If you get all 4 right, you can pick 4 things from our merch store. And I will send you all 4 things from our merch store. Let's see. Some of the other comments that came in here. Sam said, if so, this could be Greg Sankey's solution to the agreement of the Big Ten of Oregon State just losing to everybody. Rebel Juice said, what do you think has been the problem on offense? Not just one issue. Defense will win us a natty, but offense has got to get us there. Well, this year is just going to be who's going to throw the ball. Like, that's the thing. We have 3 dudes who are totally unproven back there. Like, that's going to be the thing this year. The Hog Father, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. He said, great series, fellas. Best 2 teams in the nation. Just went at it. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue with that. I think Coastal Carolina could have a say in that too. But, I mean, Arkansas is certainly playing like the best team in the country right now. So, Best of luck to you guys in Omaha. It's always special just getting to Omaha. That's the main thing. Anything can happen once you're there. You just got to get there. That's the thing. And so kudos to you guys. Clearly the better team in this series. I Bleed Orange said, I have faith in my Volunteers and Josh Heupel. Let's see here. Eric mentioned that, Heupel brought in Seth Littrell. That's right. Rustin's mentioned it for months now. Not only do you have Josh Heupel, not only do you have Joey Halsley, but now you got two other dudes in there, Landry Jones and Seth Littrell, who are coaching up quarterbacks. I mean, you got four coaching the quarterbacks right now. The Hogfather said, we'll try and bring it home for the SEC. I can definitely wait to see y'all in football here in a few months. Yeah, that's going to – listen, anytime Tennessee and Arkansas meet on the football field, it's always a good game. I'll be curious to see what happens this year for sure. I'm sure Heupel's got, revenge on his mind, but the question will be, will he have a quarterback that he doesn't want to take the ball out of their hands, which is what happened in Fayetteville last year. He didn't trust Nico, and so he took the ball out of his hands, and we became one-dimensional, and it bit us in the rear. So we'll see what happens this year. It should be a good game for sure. It always is. Rhonda said, I Bleed Orange is the man. I thought I was the only person that wore orange glasses. That's great. I Bleed Orange said, is this year the best year Tennessee has had a legit chance to beat Georgia? I'll be there in attendance. Oh, it's awesome. I hope you have I hope it's an awesome game for you, man. Yes. Out of the most recent years, I think this is certainly Georgia's most vulnerable team. I still think, before anybody can predict a Tennessee win, Tennessee's got to prove they can do it first. But of the most recent years, this is certainly Georgia's most vulnerable team. I think Ruston agrees with that too.
Yep. Offense is very unproven.
The Hogfather said he can wait for the football game. He said it won't be too much fun. So he's not super pumped about his Razorbacks, I guess. Let's see here. Matt said Oregon State's currently up big on Florida State. I hadn't looked at that score here in a minute. Last I saw was 7-3. Hogfather said, yeah, Oregon State's putting on them. Best of luck, fellas. God bless. Hey, we appreciate that, man. God bless you too.
Yeah, they're killing them. It's 13-3.
Oh, yeah, that's over. Yeah. It's probably in like the sixth inning by now?
No, it's just the fourth. Yeah, they're killing them.
There must be a lot of pitching changes and stuff happening for it to take that long.
Yeah.
Well, as the sun sets on another year of Tennessee baseball, it was really overall, it was a great year. You had a team that started out the best starting record in school history. You got to literally watch history being made by Andrew Fisher as potentially only the second player, Brian Ellis from Florida Gulf Coast University, the only other player to do it in 2022. The only other guy to get on base in every single game of the season. That's amazing. Y'all, seriously, we may never see that again in any of our lifetimes. That's how rare what we witnessed Andrew Fisher do this year was. It's unbelievable what he did. Overall, a great year. You got to see Liam Doyle became a Golden Spikes finalist. You got to see more history with Liam Doyle. He set a new Tennessee baseball record for most strikeouts in a single season. Overall, this was a fantastic year. And, it's exciting to think about what's ahead, especially, Tony getting all the freshmen in the last inning there, which was really cool. Getting to see Newstrom and Abernathy hit back-to-back shots, especially Abernathy's, off the scoreboard. That was awesome. Just really exciting to be a Vols fan right now. It truly is an everything school. I Bleed Orange said, great stream, guys. And covering the baseball team was amazing this year. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Rebel Juice said, wish Tennessee and Georgia was a night game. No logic behind it, but feel that would be better chance at winning, especially in Neyland. Oh, 100% agree. Yeah, because it ain't going to be dark at any point in that game. I mean, it in early September or mid-September at a 3:30 start time, it won't be getting dark until 8 o'clock or after, and that game will be over well, before then. Let's see. Albany Orange said, did you guys see how good Christian Moore's playing in AAA? Yeah, he's tearing it up. He just hit a 435-foot home run the other day. Elijah said, loved how Tony said he's going to really attack recruiting this offseason. Yeah, as though he hadn't been doing it already, right? About the number 1 recruiting class. Going to be fun to see what he has up his sleeve. I guarantee there's a couple pitchers, a couple aces up his sleeve. See what I did there? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Well, on that note, Matt said, hey, appreciate you, Matt. He said, really enjoyed watching Tennessee baseball this year. Great show, Evan and Ruston. Thank you, man. We appreciate that so much. And thank you for being a channel member. We appreciate all you all so much. Ruston, any final words about Tennessee baseball for this season?
Nope. It's a good year. It's going to be even better one next year.
Absolutely. I Bleed Orange said, I'm going to buy one of those hats Wednesday. I really like them. Yeah, I appreciate that. It's got puff embroidery on it. Look at that. That's beautiful. Puff embroidery. I got the dark mode. Rustin's got smoky gray. Both of them are available on the volbros.com/shop. We also have a brand new GBO hat on there. Looks really, really good. I got one on my way to me right now, actually. Audrey Kaler, you have one on their way to you as well right now. So very, very exciting. Audrey's one of our watch party fan members. At every watch party, we give away a merchandise item. So it was a hat this time. She won it. So a lot of fun there. Let's see. Eric said, good show, Vol Bros. See you Thursday night. Hey, we appreciate that, man. We will be here Thursday night for sure. Very excited about it. Elijah said, night, bros. Appreciate you, buddy. Oreo Puppy Dog, welcome, man. We're glad you're with us. Rebel Juice said, Tony might become the Saban of college baseball one day. Absolutely. Legit. That's fair. The dude is on a crazy streak right now. The winningest program in Division I college baseball since 2018. Eric said, have a good night, Vol Bros. Hey, we appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for being a channel member too, Eric. Rhonda, thank you for being a channel member. She said, great season, great show, great chat. Totally agree. Will, if you're still with us, man, glad you're with us. Always good having you with us too, buddy. All the way from Ohio. I hope all of you have a wonderful week ahead of you. Go Vols, baby. And for the final time this year, we're going to play the baseball outro to finish us out.